Okay, now we're back live. We sent the URL to Facebook, and I'm going to put it back in the original YouTube video. Thank you for being patient, guys. Sometimes this stuff happens. That's the nature of the beast on the internet.
So we have everybody back.
Oh, everybody's dropped a connection. I lost video. And nope, we don't have anybody back yet. But we'll repost that hopefully, and repost it also on Google+. Right here. And also, it would be good to invite the Tinderbox guys to hopefully, I don't know with the snowstorm out there, but we can still definitely answer some more questions, like the ones that we had from Peter not too long ago. So we can start with that. We got a couple people back on.
Okay, good.
So let me go back to the old one. Let's take a look at Pete's question. Okay. So his question is, what selection criteria is absolutely imperative in what order, generally speaking? Song's overall vibe, mood, as far as how well it complements the scene, production quality, or other. So let's go over that first. Selection criteria is absolutely imperative, and in what order? Overall vibe, mood, and how it complements the scene, production quality, or other.
Well, I think that when you think about the destination, that is really, if it's going to TV, it's probably going to be more about vibe and production quality.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what he put it? He put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, those
he's
are
like
two
vibe or
things.
production quality.
Well, obviously, without a certain level of production quality, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, the vibe won't matter if the singer can't sing or the guitars are out of tune. But let's just assume there's a certain level of production quality. The vibe is really important, especially during the middle of the show, the front end and the back end. I think it's extremely important, but that's generally where the lyrics are going to happen in TV, on the front of the show or back end of the show. But I think the vibe is important, but really the production quality is. I would have to put production quality first
over that,
over the vibe. Yeah.
I would agree with that, because I think I've seen a lot. First of all, music is obviously the most subjective thing.
Right. That's right.
But second of all, I think that to listeners, there's something that just separates good from bad. Right. And we hear things where like, well, the chorus is great, and I really like the change from the the fourth to the fifth. We hear those things, but the regular person who's listening, what they hear is this either sounds good or sounds bad. Yeah. And a bad production or production quality that isn't up to par will always sound. It just won't sound good to most people, even if it's close, even if it's technically really well done.
That's right. That's right. It's like I was saying this morning. I mean, I heard great arrangements, pretty good vocals. Vocals could have been a little better. Great players on, but the mix just wasn't there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no. I mean, I think all the songs could be licensed somewhere. I don't know where at this moment, but the mix just wasn't there. The overall production wasn't there. And when we say overall production, we're not talking about just mix. You could have a great mix of a bad arrangement,
right?
Or a great mix of a bad vocal. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, obviously, as we all know, that go into good production. So I think the production is important, but that good songwriting and that good groove is, if it all comes together, we'll have success.
Pretty important.
Yeah, and it is very important.
Has a song ever been selected because it nailed the needed mood, even if it lacked in production?
Well, even if it lacked in production, maybe. I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but maybe a pitch to like an artist wanting to cut something else.
Yeah, I'd say there's been some demos that have been selected for artists and things like that.
Yeah, because you're pitching to somebody, you don't really need to have a great production. I mean, when you're pitching to an artist, I mean, I think the best rule for production is make sure the song sounds like the artist you're pitching to.
Yeah.
If you're going to pitch to a country artist and find somebody who can sing similar to that artist. That's probably the most important thing. So they don't have to be too creative on their end. That they don't have to stretch too much to hear it. Let them hear themselves singing it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
And you don't have to have a great mix to do that or a great production. Any simple vocal and guitar will do it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. When you think about these demos that that we ask for artists that are looking for material, you can tell a good song with an acoustic guitar or a piano. I think. Hell, you can tell a good song with a ukulele. Amanda Palmer records with a ukulele.
Yeah.
And I know I'm usually biased against ukuleles, but you can tell the good song with a voice and an instrument. And I would say sometimes it's better to have a voice and an instrument that sounds good, and then you can tell it's a great song versus a mediocre full band production.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Sometimes we will hear great songs, and I'm sure you do too. If you explore Broadjam, you'll hear great songs, but they're just so overproduced. And sometimes the arrangement can get in the way of a good song.
Sure.
And so that balance is really important. And I wish there was a school that we could go to and learn that creative balance. Maybe there are, maybe at some of the technical schools, but really I believe that comes from experience and feedback and experience and feedback.
Yeah.
And just keep perfecting your craft.
So a couple quick more. With the exception of video games or low-budget sci-fi films, how often are virtual instruments okay? Should we use real instruments whenever possible?
Go ahead.
The stuff that the listings that we're getting from supervisors, use real instruments when possible. If you got a great sounding virtual instrument, it doesn't sound too canned.
Yeah.
And some of the synths can get really close. If it doesn't sound too canned, I think it should be fine.
Pete, that's a great question, because I think Mike's right on. If you can use real instruments, do it. But also we understand there's budgets, and we can't afford to hire
oboe players have to eat too.
That's right. Yes, that's right. That's right. But I think that the use of virtual instruments, there's another comment I want to make in there. If the instruments are played well, if you have a flute sound that you're playing and you play it like a piano, then obviously it's going to be a terrible performance.
It'll sound like a
and you don't. I don't think anyone needs me to tell them this, but so many times we will hear things like that where it'll play the virtual instrument's played out of its range. So it just sounds a little funny. So by the way, there's a guy on our site. His name is Zupe, Z-U-P-E. He is one of the best programmers of virtual instruments that I have ever seen on the site. And he's got, there's several of his songs you will swear there's live violins, live drummers. He just understands how to play these instruments.
There is a talent too. There's that guy Jeff Abbott. So Jeff Abbott's he's the guy that shows off the
real guitar.
The real guitar piano.
Yes,
the real guitar synth.
Yeah.
And Jeff Abbott goes in and plays it, and it sounds like a guitar. It sounds like a guitar solo. He does Purple Rain, and he plays the guitar solo. It sounds like...
Right. Well, he's got the right phrasing, the right
fingering for it. The thing is, if you can do it, then okay. But if other people listen to it and they're like, that sounds synthy, chances are it may be something that...
that's right.
So should we use real instruments whenever possible? Absolutely. Is there any type of music or sound that has not been readily easy to find that you have a need for? Hip-hop.
Yeah.
I'd say there's a certain element of hip-hop and modern pop.
Yeah.
This is the Tinderbox guys calling.
Oh, okay. All right, okay.
Hello.
I think Mike's right. I think hip-hop, I think
Good.
We can always use more cues. It's not that we have a hard time finding them, but we can always use more cues of any kind. Maybe if you have a cue collection where, you have 20 or 30 different pieces that are similar that you can put in one collection, that's something that, is constantly being looked for. But generally, we have over 600,000 songs on the site, so we usually can find what we need. But there are holes. I think real hard metal, like some death metal, that might be a hole that needs to be filled. But generally, the pop, the rock, some modern R&B, we can usually fill those pretty quickly. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? Let's see. Should we use real? I'm just sorry about that. I'm just reading through the questions here.
Okay.
Okay. I guess we covered all Pete's questions.
Great. Yep, I think so. I'm going to add the guys from Tinderbox did show up. Well, they're still at the airport, but he's got. Can try to do it from the phone, but they're still stuck at the airport because John's stuck at the tarmac. But that's okay. We'll reschedule a full with them sometime. Let's just.
I think they're celebrating in Minneapolis because they actually won a football game.
So let me send it to our buddies in Tinderbox and see if he can get it from the app. Now I've done it even from the Wi-Fi in a phone. I'm sorry, the Wi-Fi in a plane. I've been able to do a Google Hangout from the Wi-Fi in a plane. So probably we can get to that, and hopefully they can join us. We also put up, if people have questions want to ask live, we put up the invitation. Anybody that added Broadjam to their circles today, the invite's there. They can just jump on the Google+. I know a lot of people have just left messages there, and so I wanted to answer Pete's question about music when I said hip hop and top 40.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Absolutely, hip hop and top 40. Like, listen to what the latest Rihanna song sounds like.
Yeah.
Listen to what an LMFAO sounds like. That particular kind of production, there's a ton of people looking for it, and it's not easy to do because that producer, or even dubstep.
Yeah.
I would say that's such a new kind of thing, and I know there's a ton of DJs, but we have a need for it, and we don't have a ton of people submitting to it. So if you got good dubstep, good top 40/pop electronic production, we have a ton of opportunities for you, and you have a good chance of being selected.
Yeah. I had mentioned too some harder metal. We don't have enough of that.
Yeah.
We don't have enough harder metal.
There's never enough harder metal.
Yeah.
So we just had a bunch of people retweet that thing on Twitter. I was like, they're retweeting right now. Okay. Oh, I see. Pat did something. Okay, so we did send it to Tinderbox Music. I'm also going to send one to to Patrick himself. He's one of their artist reps that we've worked on. Worked with, not worked on. But we worked him over for your music, everybody.
That's right.
Okay, so I sent one to Tinderbox and him. So Pat might join as just his personal.
Okay.
Okay, so let me see. We are getting some. Oh, to anybody that is saying, "Oh, that was fun." Sorry that we tried to put the new URL in there, but they'll have a chance to see it again because this will be saved on YouTube for eternity. Now,
that may not be good.
All right. Well, at least we're not saying anything embarrassing, which is unusual for me.
Yeah, or me as well.
Roy keeps it pretty good, I'd say.
I got about 20 more years of practice.
So, okay. Oh, this is from, we got this earlier today. Ben Berman says, everyone knows it takes forever for the Copyright Office at the Library of Congress to process a copyright. If I compose a piece in response to a listing and submit it right away, even if I submit the copyright form to the Copyright Office immediately, it could be weeks or months before I get back the confirmation. If the piece is selected for use, how does a library publisher handle the delay in receiving the copyright clearance if the copyright certification is not in hand as it would be for a newly composed piece?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, it's so basically what in short is can you use the music or should they submit the music?
Right.
If the copyright has not come back. Well, I'm not a lawyer, but let's talk about the legal definition of copyright. Technically, the song is copyrighted the moment you create it. The problem is having to prove it. That's why the Copyright Office exists. So as soon as once you get that form back, now you can prove it. So I would say you probably would do that at your own risk. For some reason there's a glitch at the Copyright Office, and maybe there's a lawyer out there that could explain a little better than I can. But maybe you approach it like this. You get an acoustic and a vocal, send that in the Copyright Office, and then start working on the song. So maybe that'll buy you a little time. But the point is that it's technically yours the moment you create it. The Copyright Office exists to prove it.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part about that question, is that if you want to be protected 100%, then wait for that form to come back. It can be expensive though if you do that for every song.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, it's $35 an application.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say it really depends on because you can only copyright it once you have the physical copy.
Well, yeah, if you're copyrighting the song, right?
Right.
So you can just take a vocal,
right, make a CD of it and send it out.
And I've done that a few times for all of my hits.
Well, I was thinking of ASCAP or BMI. It has to be published. Like you have to have created the album,
right,
or created the single in order to copyright.
How do you do it?
Well, actually, now with ASCAP and BMI, it just has to be in a place online that you sell digitally. But it used to be like you go I'm bad on copyright.
Oh, I see.
I didn't copyright something until I complete the album, and then I send the album in.
Yeah, and what Mike's saying is with ASCAP and BMI, that's not reference to the copyright. That's reference to getting paid
for performance
royalties. It's still not copyrighted just because you put it on ASCAP or BMI.
That's right.
Okay.
But I would say one thing with that is a lot of it will depend on the individual publisher or music supervisor. I'm sure some would take a chance and be like, okay, you don't have the copyright in, let's try it. But I would say a lot would be wait till the song gets cleared, and once they can actually clear it, then they would do it. And
yeah, that's a good point.
Any major show, anything that's going to be